Hello, I am Rajendra Shinde, Associate Professor from Arts, Science and Commerce College, Ozarmi. In this lecture, we are going to study the part of the syntax that is clauses. Just like sounds, words, phrases, clauses are also the part of sentence structure. Clauses. A clause is a unit of language which consists of an NP means noun phrase and a VP means verb phrase. If we put noun phrase and verb phrase together, the result is a clause. What is clause? Clause is nothing but a combination of noun phrase and verb phrase. Means clause is made up of noun phrase and verb phrase. If the clause can stand on its own, an independent clause, then it is a sentence. Means when the clause has its own meaning. For its meaning, it does not have to depend on another clause. Then it is called independent clause or main clause. Okay. Then this independent or main clause is called as a sentence. It is also called a sentence. For example, first sentence is made with noun phrase and verb phrase. The train leaves in the afternoon. Here the train is noun phrase, leaves in the afternoon is verb phrase. Leaves is verb and from leaves in the afternoon it is a verb phrase. The train is noun phrase. Then sentence is also made up of noun phrase, auxiliary and verb phrase. Rahim is noun phrase. A single noun can be a noun phrase. Has is auxiliary verb or helping verb and lost is main verb. That's why Rahim is noun phrase, has is auxiliary and lost his pen is verb phrase. Lost is main verb. All clauses do not appear as independent sentences. There are some clauses, they are dependent clauses. They have to depend on another clauses for getting their own meaning. So they are dependent clauses or subordinate clauses. Complementizers. For it, C is used, capital C or COMP is used as a short form. For example, that, if, whether, who, when, because, etc. These are complementizers. Okay. For example, John said that Rahim has lost his pen. John said is dependent clause. That is complementizer. Rahim has lost his pen is an independent clause. John said it has no its meaning. That's why for getting its own meaning it is to be attached to independent clause. That is Rahim has lost his pen is independent, because if we will say only Rahim has lost his pen, it has its own meaning, it become a sentence. So independent clause is you can say a sentence. But John said that, here John said that what? It has no its own meaning. That's why John said that is, you can say, dependent clause or subordinate clause, and Rahim has lost his pen is main clause, okay, or independent clause. Types of clauses. There are three types of clauses. Many clauses can be embedded in a sentence. there are three types of clauses. First, noun clause. Second, adjective or relative clause. And third one is adverb clause. First, noun clause. A clause that functions like a noun or noun phrase is called a noun clause. In a noun clause, an NP or noun is obligatory. Obligatory means mandatory or compulsory. In noun clause, noun is compulsory. Just like in noun phrase, noun was compulsory or obligatory. It was must in the phrase. Here in this clause also, noun clause, noun is compulsory, obligatory. For example, John asked a question. Here a question is noun phrase. John asked. Here is, you can say, dependent on a question. John asked what? A question. This is noun phrase. John asked what? A question. That's why a question is noun phrase. John asked if Mary was coming to the cinema. This was noun phrase, but this is noun clause. John asked a question. This is a noun phrase. But John asked which question? If Mary was coming to the cinema. This question is asked by John to his friend or to anybody. John asked. It is dependent clause. John asked if, dependent clause, and Mary was coming to cinema is independent clause. It is main clause or independent clause. It has its own meaning. Though we remove John asked if from this sentence, here this clause has no meaning at all. But Mary was coming to the cinema is independent clause. It may become a sentence. Third example, John disturbed the teacher. John is noun. John disturbed the teacher. This may be a noun clause. In noun clause, single noun is there. In noun clause, NC means noun clause is also there. In noun clause, noun phrase is there. 4. The tall boy disturbed the teacher. NP, the tall boy is noun phrase. Disturb the teacher. The tall boy disturbed the teacher. The tall boy, noun phrase. In noun clause, noun phrase is must. Here in the above sentences, a question is noun phrase. Mary was coming to cinema is noun clause. John is a single noun. In such a kind of way, noun phrase, noun clause or single noun are must. They appear in noun clauses. The tall boy disturbed the teacher. The tall boy is noun phrase. That John was going to Delhi disturbed the teacher. That John was going to Delhi is noun clause. But that John was going to Delhi, this is dependent clause. Okay. In this way, this is noun clause. Second type of clause is adjective or relative clause. A clause that functions like an adjective or adjective phrase is called an adjective clause. In an adjective clause, an adjective phrase or an adjective is obligatory, means must, or compulsory. Means in adjective clause, you should remember that two things are very important: adjective phrase or an adjective. Either adjective phrase or adjective is obligatory or compulsory must. For example, the tall boy came late to the class. The tall is adjective phrase. The tall boy came late to the class. Then Second example is that boy who is from a very wealthy family never comes to class. Boy who comes from a very wealthy family is adjective clause. That boy, which boy? Who is from a very wealthy family. It is adjective clause. Then third type is adverb clause. A clause that functions like an adverb or adverb phrase is called an adverb clause. In an adverb clause, an adverb phrase or an adverb is obligatory or compulsory or must. For example, I will see your work tomorrow. Tomorrow is adverb or adverb phrase. I will see your work when I am free. Now, when I am free is adverb clause. I will see your work because you are a genius. Now, because reason is given, because you are a genius, adverb clause. I will see your work. Why? Reason is given because you are a genius, adverb clause. Then I will see your work when I am free. It is adverb clause. Then I will see your work tomorrow is not adverb clause, but it is adverb or adverb phrase. We have studied types of clauses, three types of clauses. Now parts of clauses, subjects and objects, or subject and object. Subject, verb, object. This is the sequence of or the structure of the sentence. First, subject, the noun phrase or noun clause that comes before the verb and answers the question who or what is called the subject of the sentence or clause. All verbs in English compulsorily require a subject. Means all verbs in a sentence they require, without subject there is no sentence or verb. Verb and subject, particularly noun phrase or noun clause, they are subject. Okay, they come first in the structure of the sentence, then comes verb, then object. First example, John loves Mary. John is subject, though it is a noun. Here John is noun and it is a subject. Loves is a verb and Mary is object. John loves Mary. Second example, the man in white coat. This is the man in a white coat is noun clause. It is a noun clause. Broke the wall. Broke is verb and the wall is object. The sky is blue. The sky is noun phrase. Is main verb and blue is object. Subject plus verb plus object. The sky is subject, is verb and blue object. The painting. Here it is noun phrase. The painting. The determiner and painting is noun or noun phrase. The painting is noun phrase. Looks is verb and beautiful is object. The subject of the sentence is a noun phrase or noun clause. Now object. Object, the most important function of a noun phrase. Noun means in short N, capital N. Noun phrase, capital NP, N for noun, P for phrase. Or noun clause, N for noun and CL for clause, is to be the object of a clause or sentence. Now sometimes independent clause may be a sentence, that's why clause oblique sentence. Not all verbs need objects. Objects are traditionally understood as an entity, that is, the receiver or the goal of the action described by the verb, as opposed to the subject being the doer or the agent of the action. The object answers the question who or what. Now, here when we ask the question to the subject who or what, then we get the answer object. But we should notice that here all verbs do not need objects. For example, here there are given some example of objects in the red you can say alphabets. They are objects. A letter, Mukesh, that all religions lead to truth. First example, Kusum is writing a letter. A letter is here NP or noun phrase. Kusum is writing. If you will ask question what, we get object. What she is writing? A letter is object. Okay, object may be a noun phrase. Then Balaram slapped Mukesh. Balram slapped whom? To Mukesh. Balram slapped Mukesh. Mukesh is noun. Noun may be object here. Noun is object. Akbar believed that all religions lead to truth. Akbar believed what? Answer is that all religions lead to truth. This is noun clause, and this noun clause is object of the sentence or clause. We have seen now subject, object, now verbs. There are also helping auxiliary verb and main verb. We only know two types of verb. But intransitive verbs are the verbs, they do not need an object and therefore do not allow any object. Such verbs are known as intransitive verbs. For example, cry, sleep, stand, etc. The baby cried. The baby cried. We do not need any object after cried. That's why cried, this verb does not need any kind of object. Such a kind of verbs are known as intransitive verbs because they do not need object at all. He stood. Now, subject and verb are sufficient. There is no need of adding any object. My mother slept. My mother slept. Okay, slept is intransitive verb because it does not need any object. Now there are some ditransitive verbs. Ditransitive verbs allow or require two objects. There are two types of objects. First, direct object and indirect object. Direct object answers the question what, and indirect object answers the question whom or who. Means in this way, direct object is important in the sentence in object. Indirect is not required, but in some sentences both are used. Such a kind of objects are called verbs are called ditransitive verbs. Means they have two objects, direct and indirect. The waiter handed me the bill. In this sentence, there are two objects, me and the bill. In red color here, these are the first object, and in blue color in 4 sentences they are also objects. But in red color, for example, me, Mary, his mother, Virat. These are indirect objects. The bill, a book for money, the captain. These are direct objects. The waiter handed me the bill. The waiter handed the bill. It is sufficient, but the bill is direct object. If we remove me object from this sentence, here there is no effect on the meaning of the sentence. The waiter handed the bill. Okay, means in this sentence direct object gets the answer what is important, who or whom is not important. To whom waiter handed bill is not important, but what he handed, the waiter handed water, milk, or bill, or money. Here the bill is important, that's why the bill is direct object. Rachel gave Mary a book. Rachel gave a book. A book is direct object and Mary is indirect object. If we remove Mary from this sentence, Rachel gave a book has its own meaning. Krishna demanded his mother for money. Krishna demanded what? For money. Whom? From whom? His mother. They made Virat the captain. They made the captain. Whether Virat or any other player, it doesn't matter. If you say they made captain, the captain is then direct object. In this way, there are two types of objects used in the sentence: direct object and indirect objects. Such a kind of verbs are called, having these two objects, ditransitive verbs. And intransitive verbs do not need any object, but ditransitive verbs need, or transitive verb need object. Subject verb concord or subject verb agreement. The verb decides what kind of a subject it would allow. There is a grammatical agreement between the subject and the verb. It is known as subject verb concord or subject verb agreement. Mohini teaches chemistry. Mohini is subject, teaches is verb. Now when Mohini is third person pronoun, singular pronoun, that's why teach is the main verb and es is added. As Mohini subject is third person, es is added. Mohini teaches chemistry. For example, the teachers, if in spite of Mohini, if you will take the subject, the teachers, then the teach verb is used, not teaches, because subject is plural, they. The teachers means they, plural. Mohini is singular, third person. He, she, it. Mohini, she. Before this, he, she, it. Here, to the verb, yes or es is added. I teach chemistry. I teach chemistry. I is subject, verb is teach. She teaches chemistry, means Mohini teaches chemistry. She is subject and teaches is verb. Why es is added? Because before she teaches, he teaches, John teaches, singular, third person singular pronoun should take such a kind of verbs in present tense sentence, yes or ies or s. John and Mary teach chemistry. John and Mary, plural, they teach chemistry. We teach, they teach, I teach, you teach, she teaches, he teaches. Okay, it falls like this. In this way, subject verb concord is also very important in the structure of the syntax or sentence. Here I would like to conclude this lecture. In this lecture we have covered some topics, that is clauses. What is clause? Then types of clauses, subject verb agreement, and in this way the part of structure of the sentence include here the clause. Even types of verbs we have studied, subject, object, in detail we have studied it. And now here we have studied one more aspect of the sentence, that is clause or clauses. Thank you very much.